Hey, Jimmy, we gotta do something else with our weekends. This is getting kind of tight.
I know, it's really hot outside.
Yeah.
Let's go, crap! To the Atheist Mobile!
Oh my gosh, are they ever gonna get tired of following us?
Never.
Nice toss.
Thanks. Maybe this time they'll bring new arguments.
Yeah. We gotta find us a quieter car, too.
Yeah, I like this one.
Oh, it's a good-looking car. Oh, man.
We are getting good at that.
Yeah, right? My cardio is just getting better and better with the show, right?
Yeah.
Hello and welcome, everybody, to Talk Heathen. Hello, live studio audience. Today is April 29th. It is Season 2, Episode 17 of Talk Heathen. I'm Eric.
I'm Jamie, and I'm wearing a fabulous hat, and there's nothing Eric can do about it.
I'm plotting. Not gonna lie.
Scheming.
I'm plotting. Yeah, just scheming just a little bit.
So, up until you saw that I was wearing the hat today, how was your week?
You know what? It was a pretty good week. Things are getting exciting as we're getting closer to summer.
That's true.
Yeah, going out and just enjoying the nice weather while we can before it gets too hot. And
Yeah. Did you enjoy any of the festivals or activities that were going on in Austin this weekend?
No, I went to Hippie Hollow, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know you did that last weekend. Did you go again this weekend?
Yeah, it was a good time.
I was wondering, I didn't know whether you were
for those of you who don't know, Hippie Hollow is the nude beach just outside of Austin.
Yeah.
What about you? Did you have a good time?
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a long week,
Yeah.
but it's been good.
You know what
mostly
always-
uneventful.
You know what always makes me feel better? Getting into calls. Do we have anything else that we want to say before we hop in?
Yes.
What?
So we're gonna say at the beginning where people can contact us because our show is long. So Eric, how can they contact you specifically if they want to?
Well, first off, if you are watching live on Sundays at 1 o'clock Central Time, you can call us at 1-512-686-0279. We do have one last spot available, so go ahead and give us a call. If you want to get a hold of us after the show, between the week, you can get a hold of Jamie. You can tweet him. You can send him tweets.
I'm a big fan of the Twitter.
At Reason_Evidence. You can also find him at Jamie the Heathen.
On Instagram. And on Instagram, you can find Eric at Eric the Heathen, and you can find Eric on Twitter at Dirty Heathen.
And I'm getting better at it.
We're both on Facebook, and if you want to find the show, that time
No,
when I
you're
interrupted
good.
you, it was inadvertent.
It was beautiful. It was good.
Okay.
Keep going.
The show on Facebook, the show is called Talk Heathen, and on Facebook, it's also called Talk Heathen.
You can find us on Reddit, reddit.r/Talk Heathen, and we know you're watching on YouTube right now, but for those of you who are passing it on, YouTube/Talk Heathen.
Yeah.
Are we?
We made that as
I know it's almost like we've practiced this a couple times, right?
Yeah.
So without further ado, anything else?
We have ACA elections are coming up next week. If you're
are.
a member of the ACA and you would like to come on down and vote for who's going to be president, who's going to be vice president, who's going to be on the board, in 7 days, just under 168 hours, you can show up Sunday, 11:30 a.m., May 6th, here at the Free Thought Library, which is 1507 West Koenig Lane. Koenig is not spelled phonetically because it's a German word.
Koenig, and actually,
Well, it's
there
spelled
might be
phonetically in
somebody
German.
with a fabulous hat that's running
Really?
for a good position.
Who is there someone with a fabulous hat running for president that needs your vote?
Cool. Okay.
Bring your babies on down and I'll give them a kiss.
All right, now you made it weird. William,
Well-
in Tacoma, Washington, you are our first caller. You are live with Eric and Jamie. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. How about you guys?
It's going good.
Yeah.
Eric made it sound like I want to kiss a bunch of babies.
It's
and
real
wasn't
weird.
just telling a joke, but that's fine. That's cool.
And also, that is a very fabulous hat.
Thank you.
Oh, don't encourage him. I try and get rid of it every time. What'd you want to talk with us about
Emphasis
today?
on try. What did you want to talk about?
Well, the thing that I wanted to bring up was morality that is not really covered in theologic mindsets
Okay.
and whatnot, because when you've got a a holy book, you put that on a pedestal. I mean, that seems kind of like the natural thing to do as a theist. That's the thing you look for guidance for anything. And I like looking to all of fiction to try and gauge my morality with any situations that are presented.
Okay.
Because you got backstory, you got all this stuff, and fiction is a really good tool for me. But specifically, the morality that I think is going to be a big question and, coming up in the near future is artificially breeding animals towards more cognitive traits.
Ooh,
and whatnot. You get where I'm going with that?
I do.
Yeah, genius giraffes.
Jamie obviously doesn't.
Okay.
Will an animal that has sufficient cognitive ability be able to be a moral actor, and what would the ramifications be to
not just a moral
farming?
Actor necessarily, though? Mm-hmm. Because the example that I like to use is actually an octopus, because the main reason why is because they have a large brew size, a lot of babies in an octopus brew and whatnot, big population to go through. They have relatively short lifespans, but they do learn a lot and become extremely intelligent over those short lifespans. I mean, you compare a 3-year-old octopus to a 3-year-old human, it's not even a contest at that point of which one is more capable of surviving.
That's true.
And the one of the biggest factors is the fact that they can learn from each other. I don't know if you guys heard about this experiment, but you put 2 octopuses in an aquarium side by side. One knows how to get into this puzzle that has a crab. The other one doesn't. The other one that doesn't watches the one that knows how to get into it, finds out for itself, and then is able to do it. That is amazing. And that's an amazing starting point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
do you
go ahead?
I know there's a I don't know what amount of research is considered significant, but there's research about this with crows, because crows are intelligent as well. But one of the things that I wanted to bring up was that apparently there seems to be a link between extended periods of adolescence when you're rearing an animal. Adolescence is almost certainly the wrong word, but I'm not a biologist. And intelligence. Sorry.
No, I was just saying, go ahead. So adolescence works.
Yeah, so it's the extended period of raising. So I don't know why I'm jumping to the fence of 3-year-old humans, but.
Oh no! We're talking the difference between long term and what can survive on its own. That's it. Like long term, we can do calculus. Octopuses, maybe you can teach it to do basic arithmetic if you take this experiment far enough. I don't really know for sure.
I was going to say some humans can do calculus.
That is true.
Well, I mean, the explanations that I've heard have a lot to do with development, just because we are a social species and there is so much that you're born with, but there's also the nurture aspect of it that takes such a long time for a human to mature into an adult. The huge amount of time that it takes for the brain to form and for all of those different functions to happen. You take a look at a foal that is just born and they're walking right out of the mother. Humans... Go ahead.
Well, what I was getting at, though, with this conversation is if you say you had the facility and the funding to do this, like Elon Musk can do this tomorrow if he got the wild hair up his ass. If he decided he wanted to do this thing with octopus or crows even, where it's basically the crucible of which one passes the cognitive tests, quicker, easier, whatever, and if they're not able to, they don't go on to breed and they become calamari or chicken wings.
That's weird. That is a weird.
Yeah.
But if
I didn't
you
realize chicken wings
artificially
were made out of crow. No, sorry.
Hey, I mean, semantics.
No. I was trying to joke and get to a point of like, what's in fast food? But,
I guess the interesting question for me is, if you did come up with an animal at some point who was able to reason in a way that was similar enough to humans, would they
have rights?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that's where you were going with that.
Yeah, or do they have some kind of,
citizenship?
Well, do we owe them, or are they themselves deserving of rights by being conscious the way we...
Cognitive.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think conscious
even if
is probably the line for me, because...
conscious.
Yeah. Well, if you... Oh, sorry. But I was just going to say, if you start tying whether or not a being deserves rights based on its conscious or cognitive ability, you then run into an interesting scenario with human individuals that have less consciousness or cognitive ability, which...
Yeah.
Hello, moral quagmire for you.
Yeah.
I know, and that's why I think this is super interesting to talk about. Yeah. And that's honestly why I tried calling in Atheist Experience last week, because I thought Matt would be very interested in a discussion like this, because it's morality that you don't really think about.
Well, it's definitely something that I'm going to take home with me and think about this week for sure. And if anybody else wants to be involved in this conversation...
Reddit.
Yeah, let's do Reddit. Actually, go ahead and hop on to Reddit. William, do you think you could
Are you a
pop a
Redditor?
post down and we can get a conversation going on our Reddit?
We're not cutting you off.
Yeah, I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
No, I'm looking for a way to, talk about this idea and other ideas I have. So yeah, I'm totally open to going down to Reddit.
Cool, let's do that.
Discuss this more.
Yeah, it's easier to provide citations there.
It is.
Yeah, no, much easier.
All right.
But yeah, did you have any? Well, did you have any sort of? We've brought up the topic, but did you have anything like, oh, well, my conclusion lies at the present moment is that crows are better than people, or whatever.
No, like what I'm kind of I feel like in a very tight spot, because on one hand, I wouldn't want something like this happening with people who are not morally looking for the right answers. I mean, you look at like Pavlov's dog and what kind of experiments people have done to animals in the past. And I don't think we learned nearly enough from Pavlov's dog to justify, the torturous circumstances that he put dogs through.
Yeah.
But if you had a situation where it came down to artificial selection by what was ability, and they were simply killed, no experimentation, you maybe dissect a dead octopus or crow or something, I'm not going to raise too much objection to that, because it's no more cruel than what you'd find in nature. That's kind of my line on that, if there's enough to learn from it.
Okay.
And
that single line, like, oh, I wouldn't raise an objection because it's no crueler than what's found in nature. Like, okay, so that also needs to be a topic on Reddit.
Well,
what
I personally...
constitutes animal cruelty? Someone tweet at PETA.
Do you want to...
Don't.
At reason_evidence, don't bring it to my door.
Not in Eric's house.
And while we are well ahead of that, William, we're going to let you go.
Revenge for all the vegans?
Okay,
is that what this is?
Thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you for calling in.
And we do look forward to the
Before you let me go, before you let me go real quick.
I'll never let you go.
I did send 2 emails, and I never got a response, and I'd really like to talk to you guys more in depth about this and some other topics. So I'd love it if you guys were able to get back to me.
Absolutely,
I'll go to Reddit and see if we can
start a group conversation
have a really good discussion about this.
William, that is 100% my fault. I'm the one who goes through generally and answers all of the emails. And I am backlogged at the moment, and I'm crunching through them. And I promise I will get to you soon. Especially if it's been a little while. I will.
I understand, and I'm not expecting. I know you guys run a busy thing here, but I'll get off so you guys can get the other call. Have a great day, guys.
Hey, you too. Take care, brother. Thank you for calling in. And really, I am so sorry about the email.
Hey, don't worry about it. Have a good one.
You too, man.
Okay. Bye. Yeah, I can't blame you for the email. We got the channel blew up a lot faster than we thought. So really, fans of the show,
thank you.
It's all your fault.
And it's amazing.
Thank you.
And it is affirming, and it
really is
incredible to be able to make those connections with people. And when I do read your emails for people who have gotten their email responded to, I do answer, I do listen, and I do want to talk to you, and we do want to grow this community. So don't stop. And the time's going to have to come where we are going to need to push more to, Reddit and Facebook and Instagram and getting more people involved, because there's only so much that we can do. But there's all of you, and we're just some guys.
We may be the sun, the two of us combined that this community orbits around, but there's more stuff that's going to orbit it than is in the middle, which doesn't work because the sun is friggin' massive as a metaphor. So never mind. Imagine a really small sun that defies that. Anyway.
Well,
the Atheist Community of Austin. There it is.
All right.
And Talk Heathen.
I'm moving us past this.
Hakiem Talk Heathen is the fifth
in Alabama
from that sun.
You are live with Eric and Jamie. How's it going?
Hakiem?
Is it Hakiem? H-A-K in Alabama? Are you there? All right. I think we're going to pop you back on hold, and we'll see if we can hear from you soon. Maybe our call screener will see if they can talk to you. Thomas in Atlanta, Georgia. You're live with Eric and Jamie. How's it going?
Hello.
Hey.
Hey. How are you?
Hi. I had a comment and I had a question.
Sure.
I'm trying real hard not to miss one of them. But as for the question, I was thinking, what is the Atheist Community of Austin? And I wish I still had my device on me so I could research it real quick. But there would be certain views that the ACA holds, correct?
Yes, the ACA mission statement is positive atheism and the separation of religion and government is our general overhead umbrella. And we have different shows and different community projects that we do.
And in the past, a few years ago, the ACA released a list of position statements on issues.
You can actually go to the ACA website and see the full list of positions.
Were you bringing that up to refer to a specific position, or did you want to talk about like groups and the positions?
It pertains to the question.
Sure.
Would it also be like certain like times where you'll get together and talk about like the positions y'all hold on anything?
I mean, we're regular people.
We like to talk to each other. Do you mean like officially?
Yeah.
Like,
well,
in the past there was a vote to release. I think
the board wanted to be pretty clear on a set of positions that the ACA took, and so they voted and ratified it. Now, if someone wants to change it or make a modification, they can work on doing that and present it, and we can move from there. But
we haven't recently is the answer, but it's a possibility. If that helps.
What's up?
Okay. As far what my question is, well, as for now, the only atheist community that I know of is the ACA, Atheist Community of Austin, right?
Yeah.
And I was thinking, as time goes on and more communities pop up, that would be something comparable to, what you would call churches. Y'all stand on the same side when it comes down to whether or not if you believe in the God, and there's also certain views that y'all kind of share.
Well,
tend to share. So
y'all group together.
So, I mean, to be clear, I think based on the way you're talking about it, it sounds like you know this, that the only thing that makes a person an atheist is that they don't believe in a God. However, as far as people that will call themselves atheists and get together and form communities, you tend to see some patterns there, particularly in the United States. There are positions that are held on social issues, like this hat.
Or a more concrete example is if you took a look at the primary positions, I just pulled them up. It's church-state separation and human rights. I was active in a church, and those positions were much more tight and much more involved on making sure that we had control of things. Church-state separation protects all of us, and so does human rights. I don't know if you would call that a church. It feels kind of disingenuous because we don't require that people tithe, and we don't say that there is life after death. We don't talk about, supernatural or sell people on claims. We don't have, that kind of, peace. We don't have ritual. We don't have, specific, prayers, and we don't have a set of doctrines that, you can't ask questions about. Like, it feels like there's so much that saying that it's just like a church would kind of, it just doesn't feel like.
When you said it seems like
it or not, but I have been in a church also to where they don't subscribe to a supernatural God, and they don't also have rituals. And I mean, of course they accept donations, but I mean, they don't pass around a collection plate.
Yeah. Did you go to a UU church or a Unitarian Universalist church? Although I think they do rituals.
To a degree.
No. I mean,
the specific church doesn't matter. When you said that would be like churches, can you elucidate, elaborate on that?
Because I was just thinking, because churches differ so much, and to be a church, I mean, as for what I see now, you don't even have to subscribe to, an almighty, powerful God. You don't even have to, something like that. So, I mean, what would really be holding other places
do you mean from
to be different other than that you don't apply to I'm losing the words, but you don't apply to be looked at upon that way.
Sure.
To be clear, when you're talking about what it
doesn't want to be looked, the ACA doesn't want to be looked at as a church, but there's some churches that are just, I guess, kind of as atheistic as the ACA.
Well, let's take a look. I mean, I've got the Merriam-Webster definition for church. Number one, a building for public and especially Christian worship. What do we worship? I mean, even if it's not Christian worship, what do atheists worship?
I'm not saying that they worship anything, but
that's the definition of a church. Let's go to the second definition, just in case the first one didn't match up, right? The clergy or officialdom of a religious body.
So to be clear, when you're saying what, in part of your statement, you said it doesn't seem to take that much to be a church, and then you started to talk about what would stop other groups from being looked at that way. When you're saying what it takes to be a church, do you mean legally, because there's it's a tax certification as well? What did you mean by that?
To be looked at as a church, saying that y'all are a group that shares certain beliefs, and if one person in your group does something negative or positive, you're supposed to go ahead and reflect and be like, did my group teach that? Would that make me want to be in that group more or less?
Well, lots of associations, particularly ones that are a community that have any kind of joint identity, are like that. So any social organization or even a sports team, right? Lots of people continue to support, insert your favorite team here, even after one of the players or the coach commits a DUI or is discovered to be committing, domestic violence. But when you say looked at like a church, do you mean looked at as, if you're a member of this community, of this group, we'll say, Group A, if you're in Group A and a person in Group A, they're this really popular member of Group A, everyone knows them, and then they beat their spouse, and that reflects on the group? Are you talking about how an individual in a group reflects on the image of the group? Is that what you mean when you say looked at like a church?
I was talking about how people in your group do something, and that's supposed to reflect on you as well.
Okay.
So, I mean, something that you had said, I think it's been a while. It might have even been 2 months ago, how you talking about somehow churches would treat certain people as if they're not people, and you had clarified and said talking about gay people, how certain churches will treat gay people as if they're not people. And then I was thinking like, well, yeah, you obviously said that, to get me to think of, well, let me not put words in your mouth, but...
No. I remember you talking about that. I just don't know where you were going with it. Go ahead and finish.
Oh, but I felt like you said it made me think of, do I still want to associate with that church if they have that practice? And then I was thinking of, well, I don't have anything negative to say about, any of ACA's beliefs, but if in the future, if some terrible things, come about, could we just say, oh, hey, we're atheists that, there's some terrible practices that they have?
Well, actually, that's a really good question, and that's a really nuanced question that I know we both have answers to. Do you want to give yours, or do you want me to give mine first, Jamie?
Are you going to use a specific example from recent events?
No, I'm not. You go ahead.
I feel like I shouldn't.
I will then.
So
recently we had a person who was...
Wait, are you using an example?
I'm going to use Lawrence Krauss. There was an article that came out in what was the organization? No, it wasn't BuzzFeed.
BuzzFeed News.
Was it? Yeah. That Lawrence Krauss, who is a pretty famous atheist speaker.
The Atheist and Science Community.
Atheist and mathematics specifically. He wrote Fear of Physics. It was, it was a really great math communicator. Was also a creepy McCreeperson and creep to creep. And,
which is, Thomas may not, in the same way that there's a wave through our country of like, this person is committing sexual assault, we don't like them, Lawrence Krauss.
The Me Too kind of movement has come through, atheist communities. And really, the important thing for us is that we're not trying to rally behind somebody so that we can prop up the larger organization. The only thing we hold truly is, as atheists, we don't accept the claim that a God exists. Everything else on top of that has to do with secular humanism, skepticism, and those intersecting views on the way that we approach the world. And so if somebody is not acting in that way, then you can say, that person's, I really disagree with that. But I wouldn't say, oh, you really screwed up. You must not be an atheist. You gotta believe in God, don't you? You know what I mean? Like that doesn't really make any sense.
We don't say that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not a true atheist. If you don't hold the position that a God exists, then you technically are an atheist. So I actually am very, very proud of the idea that we can go in and not hold people so high on pedestals. If you actually go and listen to things that Tracy Harris talks about, she's talked about it on Godless Bitches for sure, was not holding people to this high degree that you wind up idolizing somebody and...
not thinking of people as gods or superheroes that you should think of as greater than yourself, right? Like there are humans that do good things, but they're still humans.
Yeah, except for Jamie and I, we're awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, well, maybe I should move it to sports since you brought that up. I mean, maybe a person would be
actually real quick, Thomas, before we go on, can I just real quick? So I don't mean to cut across you. I think there's some delay on the phones, so that we may be talking over each other a little bit more than usual. But what I was going to say is, so after revelations and conviction, right? Like, Bill Cosby was convicted on 3 counts of sexual assault this week. After that and after revelations, I wouldn't be a member of the Bill Cosby Appreciation Society, right? And so if there was a group that was like, that Bill Cosby founded the We Like Funny Jokes Society, and he was president of it, and then this happened, and the trial came up, and he was convicted, that would make me reflect on whether or not I wanted to be a member of that society, right? Like that group. If he was ejected by the group, and the group said, we have nothing to do with that, here are our core values, I might consider that. But one of the things that I would appreciate from a group is not to, so groups often will, metaphorically circle the wagons and defend a member, right? So if there had been a We Like Funny People founded by society as founded by Bill Cosby, hypothetically, that had, as throughout this entire thing, all the way up to the conviction said, no, it's all fake news, it's the Chinese conspiring against him or whatever, that would entirely sour me, and I would not be a member for a single day if I'd heard that, right? Even if everything they said about funny people or, ooh, we want to feed the hungry, if they also said, oh yes, we're going to defend someone who's now been convicted of sexual assault, I would say, I'm going to go feed the hungry with some other organization. I'm just trying to address the point of the importance of an organization and its values and individuals that do bad things that reflect on it, if that helps the conversation forward at all.
Well, you had gave me a satisfying answer of if the leader or who you was looking admirably upon had did something bad. But I mean, like, what if just one of the random members in the group?
So
does that hold any weight?
It would kind of depend on what they did that was bad, right? So, like, I've been in.
So, let's put it something extremely terrible, like thousands of people in one day, they had killed. But it's just a random member of a group, not essential to the group. If they did something horrible, would that make you rethink being part of that group?
I guess it depends on whether or not the views of that group contributed to the violence. Yeah. Like, if that group was like, hey, we're dedicated to slaughtering thousands of people, then yeah, that group deserves to be blamed, right? And there are groups who do that, and there are groups who advocate that. And so if it was that kind of group, yeah. But if it was the if it was the bird watching society in the local community, no. If that guy bowled, it doesn't mean that I'm going to say bowling is the cause for all of this. Okay. So it really just depends on what that group holds.
Yeah. So I think to piggyback on what Eric said, if there's a group, right? We'll say you wanted to go with sports teams. I think, as an example.
Now you've been able to communicate and tell me answers that communicated well.
Cool.
Yeah.
I just brought that up because just kind of like with the churches I have been to, it's more or less like teaching parents, to give attention to their kids, and so on and so forth. It's basically just kind of like how to be better people, and very little of it is, worship.
Well,
so it's not too much different from. I don't know of any place where you'd be teaching adults how to improve their life other than church, but
so that's kind of what it mostly is. In response to that, churches function as like a community hub, right? Like it's a building that's there and everyone knows where it's looking back and
I actually have to disagree with you. Have you talked to a CrossFitter? Or
a person that does CrossFit.
A person who does CrossFit, or a person who vapes, or a person who, subscribes to, Bikram yoga, or is, ethically vegan and just wants you to know how terrible you are and the poisons that you're putting into your body.
Vegans attack, Eric.
Those are all non-religious people who think that they have a solid handle on the way you should be behaving, and they're not churches, right?
Yeah, and the same thing I was saying, if just one random, if one random person in the group does something terrible, I mean, it does make me second guess myself, but I guess that's only because I was trained, it shouldn't matter if, a random Patriots carry effect tomorrow, because it's just as a Patriot.
You're cutting in and out.
We're losing you, man.
Real quick. Just to clarify, do you mean fan of the New England Patriots or...
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I was going to say...
I mean, unless the Patriots have unless the Pats are worse than I think they are, then it's probably not their fault. But if they did advocate for violence, if they did advocate for something that was truly terrible and then a player did commit that, we're absolutely going to turn around and hold, that group to some level of responsibility, right? So I think that if somebody stands up, especially, there's a lot of religiously motivated violence, and so we can look at people who say directly, I did this because it says that if a man lieth with another man, the penalty is death. If it says, that kind of thing, and they're giving that as their reasoning, I'm not going to not believe them
That's why they did it.
And I'm not saying that their church is fully responsible. It might be. I don't know how bad their church is. But what I will say is that you should, listen and investigate to make sure that you don't have other people that are becoming radicalized to do the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and
So were you referring to cheating when you brought up the New England Patriots?
I don't know.
Well, it's not just me that talks a lot. Boom. That's a E. Okay. Sorry, I think we're doing well.
Oh, and just with the final thing, and then I guess I'll leave off, is something I heard from, I guess I can't say the channel's name because I don't think you're associated, but they brought up something where they said it's false that there are theists that believe in God but not all for it. And I was going to tell you a way how I'm pretty sure there's plenty of theists that exist and are not all for the God. And I was going to say, basically, like maybe a child who like loses faith that they could ever have their parents' love. So there could be someone like that. They know the parent, exists and may love other people, but may not love them. So in the same way, like there could be a theist who just think that,
God doesn't.
They can never be good enough for God or whatever, and God may never love them. And then you would have a theist that believes in God, but ain't bending over backwards,
to do anything
about worshiping.
Yeah, Thomas, can I ask you a question? Have you seen the movie God's Not Dead, the first one?
Jamie, why do you hate God?
He took everything from me.
And we totally stole that from Mr. Atheist, too. Love you, Mr. Atheist.
Get well soon.
Yeah,
but to be clear, the reason I brought that up is there's a spoiler warning for God's Not Dead. So if you want to watch that gem of a film, rock of a film, cover your ears for a second, but the main, air quotes, atheist character turns out to not be an atheist. It's like, why do you hate God? And it's like, because he did these things. It's like, that's a person that believes that there's a God that did bad things. Yeah. So theist, but not a fan of the God.
You're definitely talking to two people who absolutely 100% understand and agree with that sentiment, because we don't define to Christians what their beliefs are. That's ridiculous. That's creating straw men to attack. What we do is we wait for them to call in and then tell us what they believe so that we can talk about that. Because you don't know what one person versus another person, your example is perfect. If that person called in, we would want to know why they think that what they think, not whether or not they hold, if they said they were a biblical literalist, everything is divinely inspired, then we could get into it. But we
wouldn't
have to go person by person.
Can a donkey really talk? Like lots of people would say, I'm a Christian, would worship all the time, and would say, well, no, it's a metaphor.
For what?
I don't know. Or it's an old story or something.
Yeah.
I don't have to defend it. Actually, Thomas, before you hop off, you said you were responding to something that was said on a YouTube channel, but you didn't want to say it. Are you willing to be put back on hold and tell our call screener what it is real quick, in case we want to?
I just thought like I wouldn't be allowed to say the name. I thought that'd be like unallowed shout out. But
no. We'll put you on hold so you can tell our call screener. We want to check it out. I mean, we don't want to advertise for another channel that we don't know. So thank you for that. But yeah, and then also this has been a fantastic call. You should stay in touch with us. Email at Talk Heathen. On the Facebook, we're Talk Heathen. Our Twitters probably. We say it enough.
Yeah, we say it every 5 minutes.
Definitely. Give it a shout. And
I'd love to stay in touch.
Yeah.
You're a fantastic person to talk to.
All right.
Hey, cool.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Thomas, for popping you back on hold.
Thanks for calling in.
All right.
He's a really good caller.
That was nice. It's really fun to think about that kind of stuff. And for people to actually get that we're not trying to build these straw men, but we are taking them as it comes. And, a lot of people do accuse atheists of being religious. Atheism's just another religion. When you go to the ACA, it's just another church. Well, That's really dishonest because
Yeah.
we
Well,
don't
that and-
we don't demand money. We don't give moral dictates. We don't
true.
have. I mean,
But part of the
this
problem
is
is
the shittiest
that-
church ever. Like you don't get any magic powers.
I know.
You don't,
I feel gypped.
right?
Maybe I don't want to be president now. Do I get magic? Am I the prophet of the ACA if I'm the president? Do I get to make the non-existence of a god has told me nothing
To pay your taxes.
today.
Yeah.
No,
So-
really quick. But the problem, I think, is that what church means to a lot of people is a feeling, right? Like that's what they think of when they think of church. And so when you go into a building where it's people meeting and having a bunch of chairs all facing the same way reminds people of a church. But somehow when they walk into a movie theater, they don't accuse people of worshiping Marvel. Although they probably should based on the fan base.
I'm a fan. I'll kill you.
I'm entirely neutral on that.
Hakeem in Alabama. You're live with Eric and Jamie, and we're tired of bantering back and forth and people being like, "Oh my gosh, just get to Hakeem in Alabama. We want to talk to you, Hakeem."
I'm not
How's it
tired
going?
of
You're live.
How you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
Doing good. Doing good. What do you want to talk about today?
I had a few things I wanted to discuss with you all.
Sure.
First, I wanted to ask you all, from you all's perspective, an atheist perspective. You all are atheists, correct?
Yes, I am.
We are. You know how limited the atheist perspective is, though, right?
Like there are atheists on the other side of this glass in the live studio audience that may very well disagree with our answer to your question. But
Yeah. If it has to do with whether or not a God exists, we're good.
Right. Meaning, he, she, or the dog or the cat doesn't, right? Right.
I didn't catch that.
That means that he or she, whatever person considers a God, does not exist.
Well, that they've got to show us that God before we're
Yeah,
going to be
if
like,
you,
oh, yeah,
if you
it's a thing.
ask a person, do you believe that a God exists?
The unseen God. The unseen God. Is that better?
I mean, if that's
don't
what you
in the
believe.
unseen God.
We don't
No,
believe in any
I'm
gods.
asking.
Yeah, there's nothing that I'm aware of
But
that I would.
you was asking what God or something he had said.
Yeah, we ask you what you think God is, and then we
yeah.
talk about it because we obviously don't have a message to put
Yeah.
forward. We're responding and having those
To
conversations.
be clear,
with
I'm not
others.
sure whether you're also watching the YouTube,
Hey, I
but
consider God. Okay, I had a question for you all, but since you asked that question, I consider God the creator of all things.
Okay. Do you think that God necessarily exists in the world that you and I are in right now, that we're all in right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you have evidence for that?
I have strong faith in. of that.
Okay.
do you believe because of evidence as well, or is your belief based on faith alone?
It's faith, sir.
Okay. So
Just clarifying, that wasn't an accusation.
Oh no, I'm accusing you. I think that faith is a really terrible way to get to any knowledge. Can you give me an example of any other time that you use faith alone to determine what you're going to do in life, or what you believe, or what you know? Anything else?
Well,
Like-
faith, first of all, is having evidence of the unseen.
Okay, so
What
what
is
is the
that?
evidence?
Okay. All right. Can I get back with you on that, because I called with a question to you all as atheists, but somehow it
Sure.
turned to me being questioned.
Well, because that's
Sorry,
a super cool. We want to get around to it
I
because.
got you on that. I can educate you on that with no problem.
Yeah, sorry, Hakeem, we just wanted to be clear what you meant when you said there's
We'll-
a God.
we'll
What's your
circle back
question?
later. What do you got?
What's your question?
My question was, how do atheists think the universe came into existence?
I don't know.
All the way to
Depends on the
all of the
atheist.
things.
Yeah, I don't know.
And educate me on that.
I mean,
Yeah, I'm going to school for philosophy. Jamie went to school for business. Dude, I don't know.
Okay, give me your
if I were you, I'd ask a cosmologist.
approach, and you give me your business approach.
well, okay. So there's
Yeah.
I haven't seen all of Cosmos, either the old one with Carl Sagan or the new one with Neil deGrasse Tyson. But I think that they address, amongst other things, cosmology or precisely that question. And so there are people who spend effectively their entire lives doing research to learn about facts about the way that the world works, about a variety of subjects. Some of them make medicine and then we live longer, and some of them try and figure out how stars form, what the hell black holes are more specifically, where dark matter is, etc. And so the people that do that research and the people that communicate it professionally, like Neil deGrasse Tyson, for example, would be better equipped to give you that answer. But to be quite honest, I don't know.
Yeah, we're both there. And we both advocate that if you don't know, say I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, we encounter a lot of people. We encounter a lot of people who will say, I don't know, therefore I'm going to pull the answer right out of my ass. And we don't want that, we don't like that, and we don't think that's a very good way of coming about it. So I actually had a debate with a gentleman about 2 weeks ago, and it was, you can't explain the beginning of the universe, you can't explain the beginning of the universe, therefore God. And I thought, what a dishonest way of proving a thing, because you never actually said anything. All you said is, you don't know, therefore I'm correct. And so I asked, well, what about, anything else? What if the universe started at the end of another universe? What if we're part of a multiverse? What if, some magical extra-dimensional being? What if next week I build a time machine, go back to the beginning, and I started the universe, and I just don't know it yet? Like, the question, the better question, actually, no. That is a good question.
It's a very good
question.
The
better answer is, I don't know until you have evidence for it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if that helps with what our position is.
So what's your position?
Well, really, you can also comment on what we've just told you, but I wanted to clarify that we also, unfortunately, we are not, neither of us is the Pope of atheism, which is a position that doesn't exist, unfortunately. But so we can't speak for all atheists. Although, to be clear, as far as I'm aware, in the atheist community, I have the most fabulous hat, so does that make me the Pope of atheism? You decide. Sorry, Hakeem, I'm telling jokes and the live audience loves it. I'm derailing the conversation and Eric is glaring at me.
Yeah.
But, so we don't, anytime. No, we can't speak for all atheists, but that's certainly our positions.
Okay.
What do you think?
Well, I would have to take it that your answer was you didn't know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I'm like slow, if I'm like lagging to respond to you because I'm like looking at you on the tube, but it's like behind me.
Oh yeah.
So you understand? So
when you
stop, I don't know it for like a couple of seconds. So I'm sorry about that.
Oh, you're
I'm
fine.
not going to even look at the screen. I'm just going to talk to you, and that'd be better.
So. Did you get the question, or do you want me to ask it again?
Yes, I understand. Yes, I had to answer. You gave me your answer to my question. Now, to answer your question of my evidence, okay? My evidence, I first would start off at the fact that the universe exists. That's the first evidence.
What's that evidence of?
Well,
that it exists.
Okay.
That it came into existence, and there are things that are far beyond us. Like you
what?
said.
Well, to be clear,
I said
like stars, like the sun, like the moon.
Oh, like things that are far away.
When you say beyond us.
Beyond us, yeah.
Yeah. Hakeem, we have people that call in that say this is beyond you because it's magical.
Far away from us.
That's good.
Far away from us in distance.
Yeah.
Okay. And there are many, excuse me, let me change my tone to you.
Oh, you're
it's
good.
All good, man.
You're good.
It gets your blood up. It's all right. We're fine.
Yeah. Plus, there's a lot of semantics that we get caught up in because people
try and trap us in them, and it just drives us bonkers. And so we just want to be like, no, please don't go down that rabbit hole.
So if we come across a little hostile, I'll apologize in advance.
No point intended. Yes. All right. There are many things that exist in the universe that, if we look at it logically, from a whatever perspective you want to take in this, okay? From the distance of the moon, the distance of the sun, the distance of stars, dark constellations, black holes, nebular cluster, all of these different gases and different actions that exist, humongous obstacles of matter, All this exists, and we know that scientifically. We trust the science in that. And we can also look up at the stars, correct? So that is clear evidence. Now, logically, when you study individual things that exist in the universe, logically, a human being cannot determine, using his logic, that these things can cooperate, and they do, stay in their own orbit, and they do, while traveling, and they do.
What do you mean we can't?
Perfect precision. Wait a minute. In perfect precision, without it being chaotic and, a whole host of things.
Who said it's not chaotic?
There's no way that can possibly sustain the way that the universe does, with all its cosmic energy and so forth and so on, without it being designed to follow its own principles.
What a leap, man. How the heck did you get there? And why would you infer that something has to be designed? Have you looked at the crazy shit that happens? You have nebula crashing into each other. You have planets getting rammed by comets. You have extinction level events. You have our universe, right? Our local galaxy, right, was not there at the beginning. It actually came at the end of others, right? A lot of the major elements, especially the heavier elements, on the periodic table only come from the explosion of stars. Where the hell do you get the idea that there's not chaos, or that there's all of a sudden some synchronicity just because we can identify that there are rules that things go by, and we only come up with those
doesn't
rules
exist on a grid
because we're trying to explain it. But number one, I don't believe the thing you said, and number two, I don't subscribe to the idea that something has to be created or designed at all. Like, you have to show me that. Because just saying there's no way other than that, like, you've done nothing to help yourself, because everything you said up until that point is just like everything exists.
We clearly just, that's great. That's great. We clearly have two definitions of what's going on in the galaxy.
Okay.
First of all, I asked you a question. You want to let me finish? First of all, I asked you a question. Did you know how it came into existence? Mm-hmm. When I gave my analogy on it, then you go and tell me how you think it came into existence. You said the stars went boom, the galaxies came in and swooned. I mean, come on now. Really, either you know or you don't know.
Hakeem, real quick. So what Eric was referring to was the creation of the Milky Way galaxy, which is not like there's...
And our local solar system,
there's
sun. Universe.
I think billions of...
It's part of the universe.
It's part of the universe.
You're going to tell me how the Milky Way galaxy came about, but... I mean... That's where to stop. You said galaxies. You didn't say one galaxy. You said galaxy.
Oh, I'm sorry. Then let me.
That's what you said. We were the last of them.
Then let me clarify, because I must have miscommunicated that.
We're the last galaxy.
Right? No. What? No. If I communicated that, I deeply apologize, and let me clarify.
He was talking.
I'm saying that it wasn't the first.
Yeah.
Right. Our solar system was not the first solar system, and we can tell that because the elements that we have to be created when other solar systems go kaplooey. It doesn't mean that I know how everything began. It just knows that it's just a statement that is what we know about our solar system. I thought you were asking me about the beginning of the universe, not the beginning of our solar system.
All right. So you did say that it was chaotic, correct?
It depends on what you mean by well, actually, sorry, you were asking Eric.
Yeah. The description was like if you took some candy of Pop Rocks and put it in your mouth. That's how you just described it.
I mean, on a cosmic level,
that's exactly how you just described it to us. As chaotic.
Okay, so depending on how you define chaotic. So actually,
there was no design. You clearly said there was no intelligent design, because that's chaotic.
I did.
That's how you explained it to me. How am I coming to my conclusion is what you said.
Wait,
when I'm showing you it's not chaotic, because you're here and I'm here and we're talking to each other. Mm-hmm. We're not dead. We ain't blown up. We ain't blown up nowhere. We're here.
Okay.
Breathed in, protected, the whole nine. But you're still telling me there's no intelligent design to this chaotic universe.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm telling you.
Thinking.
Yes, because do you need a rational thinking actor to create chaos, or do you need a rational thinking actor to, you're talking about intelligent design. You don't need a rational thinking creating actor for things not to make sense, right?
Or it's the way you just described it.
No, it can be the way I describe it, you describe it, or literally anybody else describes it, and everybody could be wrong, and it could be something else. The fact is the truth is out there.
That's fine.
No. Hold on. Let me finish. Hakeem, let me finish. Hakeem, let me finish.
I don't know which
Hakeem,
one is.
Hakeem, hold on.
let me finish.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't matter whether or not. It doesn't matter whether or not you have the right answer or I have the right answer, as long as we're looking for truth, right? Because if we're looking for truth, that's where we're going to go. If we're looking to validate our assumptions, then we're not doing the right thing, are we? Right?
Okay.
Shouldn't the right question be, why are things this way?
Correct. You are absolutely correct.
Oh, well, thank you.
Okay.
We are getting some good callers.
At night, if you observe the stars, if you observe space at night by your own vision, do you see anything chaotic going on? I'm just saying, like you popping pop rocks in your mouth. Just explain that to me.
To clarify, if the universe were chaotic, I would expect to walk out and look in the night sky and see stars.
See fireworks.
Right. So
that doesn't sound like chaos at all.
At all.
I mean, I do on 4th of July, but I don't think that's what you meant. So to be clear, stars are exploding and forming all of the time. And when we point, I almost said microscopes, telescopes at the sky, we see stars explode and form and collide into each other. So if stars exploding is what you mean by chaos and fireworks, then yes, when we look into the night sky, that's what we see.
Yeah, the chaos portion of it is what we're trying to make sense of, and the more that we learn and the more we study and explore, the more we can work on creating models of understanding of the universe out there. But it's not because everything is perfectly ordered. It's because we're trying to create order to describe what we're seeing and learn about it. It's not the other way around.
Okay. Well, the star Polaris doesn't go anywhere from you, the North Star. The constellations, Big Dipper, Little Dipper, they don't explode from you. They continuously show you the design your whole life. You would be gone, and the people after you would still be seeing these same star constellations not exploding.
Hakeem, if something is...
You'll be able to go by the zodiac.
If something's chaotic, does that mean exploding to you?
You cut me off.
Yeah, because chaos and exploding are not necessarily the same thing, dude. Like,
what do you get from an explosion?
Because every example you're giving is that the stars are not exploding all at once, all at the time, like pop rocks in your mouth, right?
That's from fallen stars exploding is how they come to our atmosphere and disappear from exploding stars, sir. What are you talking about?
Wait.
You can see this visually.
Sorry.
You lost me completely.
The exploding stars don't just stay in the sky.
They don't.
Wait, no, hold on.
Fall.
No. Yeah, Hakeem, you completely lost me. I need to take us back because I got nothing.
To clarify,
did you follow?
I think so.
Okay.
When you say a star, when you're saying it doesn't stay in the sky, you mean we don't continue to see it, or do you mean it falls out of the sky to the Earth's surface?
You don't continue to see it. Star constellations. So you're telling me our star constellations explode on a rapid basis? That's what you're telling me?
No. Because what we haven't discussed yet is over what period of time, right? If I set off fireworks, they explode relatively quickly. Stars take billions of years.
So time can age and create.
Sorry, can you clarify that? I'm not sure I heard it clearly.
Yes, sir. I said so time can age and create.
Time is something that we observe. I don't know that
because
time...
I hear atheists say that all the time. They say that these things develop...
Why? And you're talking to us.
Tell them to call the show and let me tell them
or
that they
just
don't
talk
make
to
any
those
sense.
atheists about it. But if you're going to talk about what other people believe, then we have no reason to be talking to you, dude. Talk to us.
I use that in reference because I've seen both of you on that atheist show called The Atheist Experience. Mm-hmm. That's why I said that.
And I've listened to Tracy plenty of times. I've listened to Matt, Russell. I've listened to
and they
John.
Always say that.
And they don't. Hold on.
These things happen over a period of time a long period of time. They always say that about how things develop, that we can't observe it now, that it happens over periods of time.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
you understand? They always use that analogy.
Okay.
Well,
It happened over a period of time, so we can observe it.
Well, we observe those periods of time, but yes.
So
But when the clarification we had was that you said so time is doing these things.
yeah, it almost like you were anthropomorphizing time, as in time was like a thinking person.
It takes time, but okay, then why use it? I don't understand that.
Well, no. We were just
don't know what's going on in that period that is taking so long of time. Then why don't you say what it is? Then other than long periods of time.
Okay.
And tell us exactly what's going on in that period.
Yeah, because you should take a class if you want to know more about it. Right? We're not archaeologists, right? No, they're observable. Go to talkorigins.org and you can look up that evidence. If you want to know more, go to a college, man. We're just some dudes. Do you really want us to sit down and school you and actually have hours and hours where you sit down, we'll get you a textbook, we'll write down, we'll go over how we know about these things. I'll get an expert in because I'm not that guy to be teaching you that, right? Do you want to do that?
I understand. We don't need to get on that. We was talking about the universe.
Yeah, we don't need to get on it because that's a ridiculous claim you just made.
No, that's the claim you're all making. Time. You just say time. You don't say what's in between.
To be clear,
it takes a long period of time.
Okay. The example that you brought up was Tracy and Matt talking about evolution over a period of time. So
no, I don't want to get on that.
I also don't want to talk about evolution, but so.
That's a whole other topic.
Yeah. So physics.
We were talking about chaotic universe and non-chaotic. We was discussing that. That's what I had called for originally.
I don't. Okay. Yes. So let's take the sort
weird
of
rabbit trail we went on, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Jamie. Sorry.
We took a wrong turn at Albuquerque, but to get specifically on the formation of stars, you just got that. Sorry. To the formation of stars. It takes a long period of time, right? But the force that's drawing, hydrogen together, that's forming a star, that's forming effectively a large mass that becomes a nuclear
man
fusion.
Calculates the process, but someone has to put that process in place.
No, it doesn't.
No. Hold, before we get there.
Is that what you said?
Before we get there.
Energy comes from nothing?
No, that's not what he said. That's also not what I'm saying. But before we get there, that happens over a long period of time. A football game also happens over a long period of time. So if I said, in 3 hours, we'll know who will have won this football game, you wouldn't say,
football game
time.
Millions and millions of years it takes to watch it.
Yeah, I know. Stick with me here, though, because what I'm.
Frame of time.
Hakeem, you need to let Jimmy talk.
Stick with me here, because the
Go
ahead, I put him on hold.
Sorry, Hakeem. Hopefully you can still hear me. The question I'm responding to is when you said, why are you saying that time is doing things? And I'm trying to clarify because I think there's been a miscommunication. So I don't think that you, and I know that I certainly wouldn't say, time is going to win this football game. You would just say that over the course of time, a football game will be played. And you would say, it's being played by the, Green Bay Packers and whomever, right? And so if you said, or you said over the course of a football season, these things are going to happen. And over the course of the years have been really hard on whatever football team and they haven't been doing very well. You wouldn't say time has been hard on them. You would just say the things that have happened in that period of time.
You want me to unmute him?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
If that makes sense. Sorry, I got caught up trying to solve that miscommunication. Does that?
That made no sense. But
what
I was saying in regards to the universe is this, okay? Is that and I know that we use our time and we calculate our time. We have our months, we have our days, our weeks, our years. Mm-hmm. And we use the things in the universe to calculate these things that we use on a daily basis. Lunar time, solar time. Do you understand that? You're telling me that from something out of nowhere came to where we can make these calculations that's conducive to our daily living.
No. And I'll tell you exactly where you're wrong here. Okay, Hakeem?
Okay,
so
go ahead.
So in logic, you have a premise, right? You have A. And so the negation of that premise is not A. It's not something else, right? So let's say, we keep using the gumball analogy. Let's use something else. Let's say you're saying that. Let's
the
go.
gumball analogy.
Let's use the gumball analogy.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that's fine. So let's. Geez, I use this all the time. Hakeem, you there?
I'm here.
Okay, you and I, we're hanging out. We go into a room. We see Jamie. He's got a big jar of gumballs, and we've never seen the jar of gumballs. And he says, I want you to tell me whether or not the number of gumballs in the jar is even or odd. Okay? You and I both have never seen this before. And I look and I say, there is an even number of gumballs in that jar. For a fact. I know there's an even number of gumballs in that jar. What are you going to say?
Do you believe that there's an even number?
Yeah, do you believe me?
I mean, that's all guesswork. It has nothing to do with.
No,
with
and
the
just
cycle that we
follow me,
use
Hakeem,
of
and just
Austin
follow
all
me
these
here.
things to tell time
Hakeem, and
here
just
on
follow
Earth.
me with this,
You
please.
said gumballs. I'm confused. I don't.
I know.
Because we're trying to demonstrate. It's not all going to be in one sentence. Follow me through this.
Start over with the gumballs.
Sure. We walk into a room. Jamie's got a jar of gumballs. He says, tell me if the number of gumballs in the jar is even or odd. I say, it's even. I know it for a fact. Do you believe me?
Gotcha. Would I believe if you're correct on that?
Yeah. Are you going to be like, oh,
would
yes,
that
Eric
be
is-
enough to convince you, oh, Eric definitely knows
That it's an even number.
That it's an even number.
You were with me the whole time. You know I've never seen this jar.
Yeah.
I mean, but this is guesswork calculation.
So would it be okay for you to say,
Science.
Eric, I believe you?
We use science. to
Hakeem,
calculate time.
just
We use-
answer me, damn
We
it.
use observable science. I wouldn't know. That's why I'm
No,
saying it's guesswork.
exactly,
I wouldn't know if to
exactly.
believe or not.
Perfect.
So you say, I don't know. That is, you passed right through it. Yes, you got it. You can say, Eric,
Right.
Eric, I'm not going to
I have no problem
accept.
with that.
But
if I trust the
wait,
science of
Hakeem,
today,
hold on.
Then what do you want me to do?
Whoa,
I should
dude,
trust the
hold
science.
on.
Hold on. It's just
the
a hypothetical.
Point, yeah, the point that I'm trying to make is you're not saying, Eric, I don't believe you. It's an odd number of gumballs. All you're saying is, I don't know. We need to count the gumballs, right? The Eric, I don't believe you does not mean that you are asserting another claim on your own. You saying, Eric, I don't believe you, that it's an even number of gumballs. You're not saying, I know for a fact it's odd. You're saying it could be, I don't know. The correct answer is neither. The correct answer is, I don't know you, and you withhold until you have sufficient evidence to be able to put that forward.
Yeah.
Right?
You don't believe something until you have a good reason to.
And so the reason that we're coming up with this, the reason I'm giving you this example is because you're saying if you don't believe that it was created by a thinking God, right? If you don't think it was intelligently designed, do you think it all came from nothing? Hakeem, I never told you what I think. All I'm saying is I don't believe you.
I never accused you of saying anything came from nothing.
Yeah, go back into the video after this, watch it, and then that's fine. But, we can move forward still.
Because what you were...
I didn't say you believe that.
Yeah, you did.
Hakeem, really quick, what you were saying is, no, look, you need this...
You heard it probably as a question, but not as a definite that that's your belief.
Hakeem, real quick, what you were saying, what it sounded like you were saying, and what I heard and what I think Eric heard as well, is that you were saying, no, look, the universe is ordered, and it had to be ordered by a thing. And what Eric was saying is, I don't see the order there. I don't believe that that's true, and I don't know why you would say that it needs to be a thing. That's him saying, I don't believe you that the gumballs are even. I don't know how you came to that conclusion. And then one of the things I think
totally understand his position, and I'm sure you all totally understand my position. This is what I am saying, though. The science that we have up the wazoo in our lives, young gentlemen, you all are not utilize that to see whether or not it's a design to it or not. You're ignoring the science. I don't understand that.
To be clear,
this is my problem.
What science are you referring to specifically? That what is designed? Like this, I know that this coffee mug is designed, and I know that you agree with that.
I know that garish hat was designed.
Let me get to the nitty gritty of what I'm observing here. Okay. I said that with a logical mind, is it possible for us to be able to the universe to be in cooperation? What is the odds of that to our everyday living?
We don't have a way of calculating the odds.
Of time because of lunar and solar. And how can you refute that when the science helped us to get that.
Okay, so
time exists and we measure it.
A week, 7 days in a week, 30.
Yeah.
You understand? It's because of the movement of. Listen, we on a big old Earth.
Yeah.
Where it's so big that man can't even grasp in his head that
how big it is.
On a moving object and it's not flat.
Yeah.
It's going so past people's minds that they believing that the Earth is flat.
Yeah. And we are right there with you.
Use logic.
Yeah. I love talking to those people.
They
They're
don't
so
believe
silly.
that we're spinning.
Yeah.
You can't tell that, and I can't tell that. But they say that there's no phenomenon. That's when it's. I don't care how big it is, how small we are, how fast. That's nevertheless, it happens. It's happening without your knowledge and being able to witness it that we are spinning.
Well,
directly.
I mean, yeah.
Like when I get up out of bed, I don't go, "Wow, the Earth's
spinning." Miraculous to you, I don't know what is.
Early astronomers figured it out, though. So obviously, it was detectable.
Men calculate.
Right.
They tell me what put these things in motion. The Earth is a certain distance from the sun. What is the odds of that? And this is where you and I live, sir.
So
the odds of it are 1 in 1.
Yeah,
I don't.
So,
what?
Hakeem, really quick, when
the water just came out of space and landed on Earth and gave us the right amount of water too. I guess you believe that too, right?
Hakeem.
Million gallons of water.
Hakeem.
Million tons.
No, Hakeem.
Million tons of water is on this planet. And
Hakeem.
ain't no water in
Hakeem,
space.
real quick, Hakeem. So if I roll a 6-sided die, the odds.
Other planets ain't got the water.
I'm putting you on hold, dude. You got to let us talk. You got to let us talk, or else we're not going to have this conversation. All right? Putting you back up. Can you hear us?
You to talk to. But go ahead.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. there's a phone delay, so I think it may be making there.
I understand.
Yeah.
Sorry for being so long.
Oh no, you're fine. I talk over people every week all the time, without the phone delay. So
Without the excuse. Yeah.
So if I roll a dice, right, the odds that it is going to come up like a 1, right, like it's a 6-sided die, like you'd get at a casino or whatever. The odds that it's going to come up 1 are 1 in 6, right? And we know that because if we take that die and we roll it 1,000 times, 1/6 of those times, if it's perfectly random, it'll come up 1 or nearabouts, right? And that's what we mean by what are the odds of that, right? So if I take 2 die, right, and I roll them, the odds that it comes up snake eyes are, few and far between. On one roll, it's 1 in 36, right? So if I roll, or here, I'll stick with 1 dice, and now that I've switched back and forth, this is confusing. So the odds that I roll a die and it comes up 1 are 1 in 6, right? But if I roll that die twice, the odds that it comes up 1 and then 2 are 1 in 36, right? That's how we calculate probabilities. Are you with me so far? I'm not doing this very well, but hopefully I haven't lost you by rambling. Hakeem? Are you there?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. Thank you. We wouldn't know what the odds were if we couldn't roll the die more than 1 time, right? Because if I find a 6-sided die that I've never rolled before, and I roll it, and it comes up 1, I might go, oh, well, it's a perfectly random die. Or maybe the next time I pick it up and I roll it, it's 1. It comes up 1. And I pick it up and I roll it again, and it comes up 1. And it's because it's a loaded die, right? It's weighted. It's rigged to only come up 1. But I wouldn't know that unless I could roll it more than once, unless I could roll it again and again. So when you're asking, what are the odds that the Earth is this far from the sun, you're talking about 1 dice roll, right? We have 1 Earth, 1 sun, 1 galaxy, and 1 universe. So we don't have a second time to compare it to. So when you ask, what are the odds of that? The answer is, I don't know, and I don't know how anyone could know.
And then to build on that, I actually really like that. Did you ever play Yahtzee, Hakeem?
Yes.
So do you know what the odds are of getting Yahtzee?
Let's say that again.
Of rolling Yahtzee?
Okay, I know Yahtzee. Yes.
Yeah.
Really.
So for you to roll all those numbers together in one go, it's 1 in 1,296, right? So if we're playing Yahtzee and I actually do it, are you going to be like, you're a cheater? The odds are so high, it's never going to happen.
Well, maybe.
Well, eventually it will, right?
Yeah.
So let's take 1 in a million, right? If something's 1 in a million, that means it rarely happens. Well, that's not true, because how many people do we have on the earth? Jamie, how many people are out there right now?
More than 700 billion.
More than 700 billion. That means that you have 7,000 1 in a million chances happening all the time for any given situation.
Well, yeah.
70,000? Am I missing a zero?
I don't
know.
Yeah.
But either way, it happens all the time. And so for you to say, oh, it's so impossible for a thing to happen, number one, big numbers is not a reason to not believe a thing. Number two, what Jamie said.
Well, we don't know what the odds are, and also we have a really, 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 really large universe and a really, 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 really large galaxy, and there are a lot. The number of galaxies is also really, really, really large.
And who knows how many times this might have already happened at different distances, or if there are life forms that are comprised of different,
or if it could,
makeups,
or if it can happen any other way. Right?
Yeah,
like at this point, we're just listing things we don't know. But
okay, but there is one that I actually do want to give, and that is, have you ever read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
Yeah.
Hakeem?
Yes.
You have?
Well, here, let's let him respond to what we've said so far.
In Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, he talks about a puddle, a sentient puddle. And that puddle is so happy because it was made. The hole was absolutely made for it. And the size was exactly right for the water around it. And then the sun came out, and as the puddle shrank, it went, you know what? This is absolutely perfect. Every instance that I'm in, this hole is perfectly made for me, right? Was that puddle correct? I mean, all you're doing is...
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying. I totally understand what you all are saying.
Okay.
I totally get that. I put things like you do, like you're doing, in every perspective known. That's where we come in at as men. Every human being born is a scientist. We explore, all the way to the food we taste and test. Understand that, okay? We observe.
Did you say this, man?
Understand it. Listen. This is what I understand your analogy.
Okay.
But this is where you have this is where you run into a problem with this at. Okay? Because I'm gonna explain it. The science shows in school, science in school.
Okay.
Not my science. Science in school is what I've been talking about.
Okay.
Shows that all these things in the universe are put in precise mathematics, all the way to the point where he calculates. Understand what man does? He calculates. Okay?
Yep.
We've come up with the perfect mathematical equation, which is B/A, which equals 1.618. Okay? This number is used in various aspects. Understand this. In the universe, it is the superior number in mathematics. With this number, let me just finish. It's not going to take no more than a minute.
Oh, no, I was just looking at, I thought that was the golden ratio. Okay, yeah.
Same number, there's no design. With that same number, that's the heart pulse, that's the DNA spiral, that's numerous of galaxies is based on this number, okay? Mm-hmm. This number is even applied when the Egyptians built the pyramids that's connected to the star constellations. Understand that. Also, it's even what our human body is, 1.618, the perfect gear ratio. That's the human body now, fellas. Also, it's the world's golden ratio point, our mead point, okay? In the middle of the South Pole and North Pole, you got to understand, this is what is called the magnetic equilibrium zone. This is true science, learn it in school. Told me to go to school, you'll go to school. Look, not to move, listen, if you place a compass here, it will not move because the gravitational pull is equal from both sides, fellas. You understand that?
The force of gravity is opposed equally by the normal force.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
yes, sir.
How do you get the golden ratio?
These are mathematical scientific discoveries.
Mathematical scientific. I'm not telling you the golden ratio doesn't exist. I'm asking you if you know how it exists, like what it is. Yeah. Why you get that?
Okay.
Why is phi that? Why is phi equal to 1.618?
Everything that I have studied in science is conducive in what the God I believe in, the unseen God, shows us in His book.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
Like the one that created.
No, you are lying. No, Hakeem, I'm not going to let you get away with that. You can say a whole bunch of really crazy shit, but to tell me that your Bible is scientifically correct, you know what? You actually added a whole bunch of bogus crap onto existing things. You said that's all post hoc. What you're saying is we can define it, therefore it must have been created. That is not it. Yeah. That is not the case. It is we are trying to define it, and therefore once we define it, your God exists. No. I can say these things exist, but that doesn't mean that, shut up, dude. Your God does not exist because you are getting to, oh my gosh, we can finally define a thing. Right? All right, look, listen.
You're on hold.
Yeah, you're on hold. Okay? Listen to me really closely. Just because you get to say science exists does not mean you get to say that your 2,000-year-old book, over 2,000 if you're counting the Old Testament, written by Bronze Age goat herders, is scientifically correct. That is not a true. That is not how you get to truth. And you can't say you're reaching that by a scientific means. That is bullshit. And we'll sit here and we'll argue. We can talk about how you get to conclusions. But if you're going to pull that out of your ass, I'm done talking to you. So I'm going to take you off of hold. But if you do say that, I'm done.
All right, what it is?
Hakeem, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey.
Okay. So you're back.
I don't need a book to clarify what it is. I'm going to let you have to deal with that these things is possible by like rolling a dice or throwing some bubble gums on the floor. Now this mathematics...
Some bubble gums on the floor. That is exactly what we said.
You said bubble gum, balls, bubble gum drops, whatever you said.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
All over the floor.
None of these things has a mathematic precision to them. It's guesswork.
No, the measure...
Mathematic precision.
Our ability to measure it is precise, right? My height...
Oh, you want to try that one?
No, how dare you?
I know you're not going to try that one.
Really?
You just gave me your mathematics of calculations of gumballs and dice and the odds of that.
Yes.
And I'm giving you precise mathematics. You're giving me guesswork mathematics.
We're not.
No.
We're giving you examples to try and help you.
Okay. I think there's been very quickly. To clarify, I think there's been a miscommunication when you were talking about, you're going to give me that one. Because when you said, it's a level of precision, I'm saying, right, a thing happens, and we measure how it happens using numbers very precisely. Using numbers with a lot of decimal points going past it. That's our ability to measure a thing that happens.
But if we don't use number precisely, we won't be able to count our money, would we?
All right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No. Exactly. But the amount of money I have on a table, if I miscount it, does that change the number of dollars I have on a table?
No, it just means that you're wrong about your money.
Okay.
Exactly. And as we get better at measuring this hypothetical money on a table, we discover that we can measure not just dollars, but quarters. We discover we can measure not just quarters, but dimes. We discover we can measure not just dimes, but pennies. And then someone would say, where the money is on a table, because we can measure pennies, it must have been placed exactly there. But if someone is holding a giant tip jar and they pour it out on the table and you just get better and better at measuring how much it's there, it doesn't mean the place on the table where it fell was designed to be there.
What school taught you mathematics?
Obviously not yours. Hakeem, we actually are going to keep you on, but we have somebody else who wants to talk to you. Katie in Lincoln, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Katie, help us, please.
Okay, so as far as whether or not you...
Oh.
That was my phone beeped in. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Son of a bitch.
No.
Sorry. You dropped her.
No, Hakeem, not you. Sorry. The call with Katie dropped. You're fine. That's Eric swearing at the phone system, not you. Just to be clear.
Sorry. This is me.
Our call got heated, but you seem like a fine
We
gentleman.
actually gave you our entire episode, so we're going to go on.
I didn't mean to take up y'all time.
No, this was really fun. I want to continue this.
I don't know why you were complaining. I like it. We don't have to. We got a little bit of hate. All right. I don't know what those noises just were, but Eric is making a sad face. Hakiem, I know that this call has been long. I've certainly enjoyed it. Are you interested in, I don't want to end it just yet, but before we go on, are you able to call back again next week?
Yes. Next Sunday, right?
Yeah, next Sunday. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
No problem.
All right, cool.
No problem at all.
All right, and
Take
then
care.
we also have Katie back on line 5.
So we're actually, I'm going to keep you on, Hakeem, but we do want to listen to what Katie has to say, okay?
Make sure you lock him
right.
in.
I gotcha.
'cause he's not. Yeah.
Katie, are you there?
Nice
Yes.
talking to you guys.
Yay!
right.
Hopefully I'm here to stay this time.
Hopefully. Okay, we only have a couple minutes.
Hi,
Help
Katie.
us out
Meet
here.
Hakeem, Katie. You're both voices.
Hello.
How you doing? How you doing? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. So we have seen stars exploding in the past. In the Song Dynasty, Chinese astronomers noticed that there was a new star in the sky, and it was extremely bright, like bright enough that you could see it while the sun was out, like during sunrise and sunset. Later on, when we had far more advanced telescopes, we were able to observe the Crab Nebula. Scientists in the 1800s were able to then say, it's like, oh yeah, no, the Crab Nebula, that was created by this supernova that humans observed in 1049. I mean, we've seen stars exploding in the past. It happens. Just because we don't happen to look outside and see a star exploding at any given time doesn't mean that they're not exploding farther away than we're able to observe. Like Betelgeuse is something like 640 light years away, and we know that Betelgeuse is nearing the end of its life. It could have already gone supernova, and we just won't see it until next week because of the distances involved. So we can see stars exploding all the time. We just have to know where to look and, get lucky because an explosion happens and then it's done.
Right.
Does that make sense, Hakeem?
Yeah. But the reason why we're seeing so many things that when we first got into the discussion as seeming like chaotic, these things exist in space. All of these actions take place. You got to also understand that science explains to us, modern science, that the universe is expanding.
Yeah.
So it's active. Everything in the universe is in motion. Nothing stationary. It's in motion,
Okay.
including that sun.
So
If you have these gases and all of this nebula and smokeless clouds and all of this different types of things, gravity and magnetic forces and dark energy and energy, if you have all of these things going on in the universe, you got to understand that you're going to get these type of reactions. But nevertheless,
Fucking madness,
and
man.
we
How do
do.
they work?
it's not harmful to us. It's not harmful to us. That's
Well,
the key.
to be clear,
Key, fellas.
if we were affected by a supernova, so for example, if the sun at the center of our solar system exploded, that would be very harmful for human life on Earth.
I understand, but that if, and boom, but
No, it's when. I mean, as far as I'm aware.
We know that the sun is eventually going to die, and it's going to expand into a red giant, and
You
it's
won't
going
be
to
here.
eventually
I won't be
consume
here.
Earth.
Hakeem.
Jamie,
No, it won't.
Go ahead, Katie. I put Hakeem on hold.
We won't be here, but neither will the Earth because it's going to be consumed by the sun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, talking about, it's like, oh, yeah, I mean, the fire in my lighter isn't going to be harmful to something unless, I touch the fire to the thing that now is on fire. I mean, the sun isn't harmful to the Earth as long as, it stays at its size and its mass, and the Earth stays at its position and its mass, and all of the orbital mechanics stay in position. I don't know nearly as much as, like, EJ does about this, but
Yeah.
I at least have a grasp on some of the basics here.
and for something to be, like you said, just with a solar flare that can destroy us, can say what you said, stay put, son, for a duration.
I
It
don't.
just decides whenever it wants to destroy us, whenever that may be, we don't know. That's the boogeyman. We don't know.
Well, we actually have a
1
good
minute
idea.
left
I'm
to
going to go to
show.
that beach and I'm going to enjoy that sun.
Just to be,
I mean,
well,
the
good,
sun-
but Hakeem, here's the thing. By observing the way that things happen with stars, by observing, oh, these things are happening, a star is going to form. Oh, these things are happening, a star is going to die. We can say with a level of certainty that the odds that our particular star at the center of our solar system explodes in the next 5 minutes are very low because we've looked at a lot of stars in the galaxy and in the universe. So that's one that we
very jealous of all.
No, we don't have time for this. I'm sorry.
Okay, sorry. Eric is keeping us on time.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off, Hakeem. Thank you for calling in, Katie. Hakeem, we mentioned before we're at the end of our show. We wish we could continue the call now, but are you willing to continue talking about this next week?
Yes, or we can get into the evolution thing that y'all mentioned.
You're going to need to show that you can actually understand what
here. So Hakeem, actually, our show ends at 2:30, and it's 2:30. But we would love to get into that with you. Can you do that next week, Sunday, 1 p.m. Central?
Gotcha.
All right. Take care, buddy.
All right. Thank you, Hakeem. This has been a really great call.
Argument from personal incredulity. Argument from personal incredulity. Can we say it all together? Argument from personal incredulity. Oh, look it up. It's freaking amazing.
Arm flailing,
and magnets,
tube
bro.
man.
Magnets.
Yes.
How do they work? Fucking miracles, man. Obviously. Tide goes in, tide goes out. That's exactly it. I can't explain it, therefore
tide
God.
goes out. Never a miscommunication.
Ever. Because they're all fucking, they all talk to each other somehow. Okay, so first off, what a funny way to go, because actually next weekend I have, what the hell was that? Next weekend I have EJ planned on joining, so that's going to be fun. We're going to miss you next weekend.
Next weekend there's an election. Yeah. So if you're a member of the ACA, I happen to know one of the candidates. I happen to know both candidates for president. I'm going to be voting. You should too. You should vote the same way that I'm going to.
Other than that,
it's me.
Blatant.
One of them is me. I feel weird about that now.
So
you just let me sit in it.
Here's a couple of the last things that we want to do before we end, because we do have to. We had some really amazing callers. I'm really, really sad that we can't talk to everybody today. But we do want to say we actually went to the American Atheist Convention earlier this year. And, I actually felt funny talking about having No Illusions and Cecil up and talking to us. And we didn't actually say thank you. And from the bottom of our hearts, we are huge fans of the shows. We're huge fans of Cognitive Dissonance, Citation Needed, The Scathing Atheist, The Skeptocrat, of
God-awful movies.
Yes. And thank you.
It's your job to remember the list.
No, that was good.
I am the list guy.
We do so appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming on. And if this was a weird amount of time for us to say thank you, it's because honestly you were so big in our minds we didn't even realize that was really shitty of us not to. So thank you so much. And anybody who hasn't checked them out, check them out.
Yeah.
If you are in the area, definitely drop by next weekend, 11:30. There's going to be a potluck. If you're a member, come and vote. Have a good time with us. Is there anything else?
I just want to double down on the thank you to all the guys at, Cognitive Dissonance and the Puzzle and the Thunderstorm guys. We've talked to you off the air as well. You're fantastic people. If you're watching at home, you should definitely check them out. They're hilarious. Binge listening to their podcasts is how I was able to do the 6-hour drive to and from Oklahoma on my own without falling asleep, because you can't fall asleep while you're laughing.
So check them out.
So please. If that's not an endorsement, I don't know what is. Also, we'll find something to send them as a thank you.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But everybody else, I cannot wait to see you again next week. This is my absolute favorite, and I can't believe time flew by so fast. We had some really amazing atheists.
Time is always flying things
on the line.
It's flying planes.
And
it's playing
we're bummed
games.
that we couldn't get to talk to you. But those of you who are atheists, those of you who don't believe, you have a home here. This is your community, and we're so happy you're here.
Welcome, heathens.
And
to those of you that don't believe, we don't hate you. We just think you're wrong. Disagree with your conclusion.
That was good. Nice.